Well, today's project was to reorganize my tech cabinet and get my new Wi-Fi system sorted out and cleaned up the wiring and organized and stuff for our upcoming trip. Let me show you. So this is up at the front of the bus. This is an area that was a mess before. We used to have a DVR, a satellite DVR up in this area, and we've since gone mostly streaming. So it's important for us to have really good Wi-Fi. And I've made a system here that will enable us to do that. But first, let me just show you what we got going on. I've got an iPad charger here, an iPad cord to hook up for cell phone hotspot. This is a GL iNet dual band access point for inside the bus. So this gives us 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi inside the bus simultaneously. I'll put a link in the description to this product. I was pretty happy with it. It's pretty powerful and fast and inexpensive. This is a USB 3 hub, and that's here because this has only got one USB 3 port on it. It has Ethernets on the back. So the key to this system is this guy and the software that it comes with. It comes with openWRT, which is open source access point software, router software, and you can do a lot of stuff with that. I loaded the full version on here. I ended up replacing the software that it came with, but the USB hub is connected to an antenna on the roof. So this USB cable here goes to a big 2.4 gigahertz antenna for Wi-Fi as WAN when we're at the campground. So when we're camping, that's to pick up the campground Wi-Fi. When we're home, it picks up the house Wi-Fi. And that antenna is powerful enough to punch through my metal shop walls and pick up the Wi-Fi inside the house. So it's not necessarily the latest technology, but it transmits at a full 1 watt of power. So then we've got a Netgear hotspot here. This is a Netgear M1 mobile router. And this guy is connected to Visible. I got a Visible plan for $40 a month. It's unlimited data, and I don't have that much signal strength here at the house. That Visible uses Verizon network, and you can see I've only got 2 bars there, but I have it hooked up to an external antenna here. That's what these 2 wires are. And the external antenna is right there. It's not in my way because it's behind my backup camera and tire pressure monitor and fan and stuff there. And that guy right there is the antenna, and that's directional, and it is pointing towards the tower here at the house. The tower is a few miles that way, and so that's why we're getting the signal. It's down there because inside the metal, we don't get that great a signal. Although, this area up here where the equipment is located is where the destination sign used to be. There's some metal back behind here where I can tell where it was, and I have a fiberglass cap. And so I'm thinking and hoping that that the cell signal will penetrate through the fiberglass here, but it's got metal up above it. So we've got this on USB. This wire can move. I suspect I'm going to have to reposition that when we get somewhere. And then over here I've got my little server. And so this guy is, this is a Raspberry Pi, and it has, it's got a battery backup on it here, and it has a solid state drive down here in the bottom. And it will stay running if the battery or if the power gets pulled on it, which is important for this guy. Basically, it acts like a mini little computer UPS, and it shuts it down automatically when the batteries drop down low. But this guy does my home assistant software to control the home automation systems inside the RV, and it runs some software that I've published previous videos on that do my my dash. It does my gauges and stuff. So this Wi-Fi system is actually kind of cool because right now I have two connections going, right? So I've got it connected to cell, and I've got it connected to Wi-Fi, and I have the ability to plug in an iPhone, which our iPhones are on AT&T. So I've got two different cell carriers here on the cheap, essentially, to be able to, you know, connect and get internet. And it's got some intelligence to it. I'm using a thing called MWAN, Wide Area Network. Multi-WAN is kind of what that is, Multi-Wide Area Network. But it's called MWAN3. It's a package that you can install into the openWRT software and configure it up to where it will share the connection. So if you're in a campground and the Wi-Fi sucks, which it often does, you can tell it to send some of the traffic out some of the other available connections. And if you have service from one carrier and not another, it'll just go ahead and send your traffic out, whichever connection is available. Let me go ahead and show that to you. So this screen is basically showing the status of my internet, and it's saying that I have two connections here and that this one is down. If I were to plug this phone back in, that one would turn green, which let's see if I can do that while I'm recording. Okay, just plugged in the iPhone. Okay, that just turned green. Boom, just like that. Ooh, and it just went offline again. The cords, these iPhone cords, as any of you that have them know, they're a major pain in the butt. Try it again, I just plugged it back in. Okay, it just turned green. We're connected. I'm going to go ahead and unplug it. We'll see if it detects it here. There, boom, back offline. So what's happening there is that is intelligently keeping the Wi-Fi up for everything behind it by what devices are plugged in and available, and what cell carrier is available, and whether they can reach the internet or not in a timely manner. So yeah, that's pretty cool stuff there. You should note that the load balancing that's happening here is not bonding. There's a difference between the technologies that are being used. When it's sharing the connections like that, it's not aggregating the traffic together across any available connection. What it is multiple devices will sort of round robin, I guess you could say, between the available connections. I may take this a step further and load some software on here that'll enable me to do true bonding of the connections. But that's kind of a next level step and I'm not sure if I need that or not. It does require a server out on the internet, because, you know, a virtual private server, because what has to happen is it has to connect the available channels to a server out on the internet and manage the traffic across those and present one IP address as your sort of IP address to the rest of the internet. It is a little better to do that. There is some latency involved, however, with a system like that. But I may do that. I'm sort of interested in playing around with it at least and see what happens. There's a shot of my Wi-Fi antenna. It's attached to the side of my TV antenna arm, which is convenient because I can raise it up if necessary, and I can rotate that around, you know, to better pick up the Wi-Fi. It doesn't go fully vertical, but that seems to be good enough for me. It's that white thing with the base on it. They're strapped to the side of the TV antenna. I'll put a link to these products that I'm using in the descriptions down below in case you're interested. So this is my Home Assistant dashboard. Shows some of the house systems that I've got hooked up to it now. There's a couple of LED strips here, and I can turn the lights on and off just by clicking there. That shuts them off. Turn them back on. I've got the weather, I've got the music, some controls for the lights over here. I've got the temperature gauges on here as well for the bus. And you know, these are kind of touchscreen things, so you know, you can just tap them, or you can adjust them like that to where, you know, the brightness of the lights, and the lights are turning up and down behind me here. You can control it with your iPhone too. Here's a quick shot of that. So yeah, I was inspired to make that system for the Wi-Fi by some commercial systems that were available out there. In order to get that sort of dual cell capability in a commercial system with antennas on the roof and all that jazz, there was a system that I was looking at called a PepWave Transit Duo. It would have been $1,200 all in for that system. So I'm using my skills and time to save myself some money, and, you know, kind of a DIY way. You know, it's not all that difficult, but I work in IT, and so I understand networking. It might be challenging for some of you. However, the router software, they've done, openWRT, they've done a really good job of making complex things simple. Now, it's come to my attention that 92% of you that watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel. It really helped me out if you'd subscribe. Smash that like button. I appreciate it a lot. Well, I hope you liked the overview of Cruisin' Classics Wi-Fi system and tech cabinet. If you are interested and want me to do a more detailed video on how I made this system, let me know down in the comments. Your comments keep me going, and I tend to reply to almost all of them, so appreciate it. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.